Thanks for joining me in this series of videos about how to mix live music. This time, we have a very important topic, which I have witnessed even some seasoned professionals get wrong from time to time. It is gain structure. It's crucial to understand if you want to get a clean and consistent mix every time. Consider the complete sound system from microphone to loudspeaker. There are several points at which the signal can be made louder. The input gain to the mixing console, the EQ, which we haven't studied yet, the input channel fader, the group or DCA fader, the output fader, the speaker processor, if used, and the power amplifier. If powered speakers are used, then you know the power amp will be well matched to the speaker's ability. Otherwise, matching amplifier with speaker is a whole other topic where care needs to be taken. No time for that right now, sorry. We are going to look at setting a good gain structure in our simple system, going directly from mixer output to powered speaker. Yamaha DXR series in this case. Looking at the diagram again, the two gain stages that are able to increase signal level the most are the input gain of the mixer, the mic preamp, and the power amplifier, which in our case is built into the speaker. It is crucial to set these well to avoid both disturbing hiss during quiet moments and distortion during loud moments. Each stage has the ability to add noise to the signal. And if you start with noise, you will end with more noise. So it's vital to get a clean and clear sound right from the start, to make things easier to handle as the signal progresses through the sound system. In the previous session, we talked about setting the input gain. Now, let's consider amplifier gain. For simplicity, let's start with some music playback. Play some music which is similar in style and energy to the band that will later perform live. If you're using the MGP analog mixer, set the output fader to 0 dB and adjust the input level of the iPod or USB so the output level meter peaks around the 0 dB mark. With the powered speaker levels at minimum, turn on their power. Then bring up their level until you reach the maximum sound pressure level you require in the room. With a TF mixer, use stereo input 1 with the USB connection. Use the gain finder to light up the central green indicator. Set the input channel level to 0 dB and the stereo master fader to 0 dB. Connect the powered speakers, turn them on, and gradually turn them up. Use some kind of level meter or even a smartphone app to check these levels are safe. Remember that any level above 85 dBA has the potential to cause hearing damage if endured all day. Any sustained level above 100 dBA has potential to cause instant and permanent hearing damage, and depending on the country or region, it could even be against the law if you don't provide staff with hearing protection. So please take great care. For now, we should have a comfortable gain structure, allowing many input channels to be mixed together without overloading the mixer outputs, and allowing for some level increase in case of quiet inputs by pushing the faders above the 0 dB mark. Now, let's explain the difference between analog levels and digital levels. With an analog mixer, 0 dB marks the position of nominal level. Remember, the nominal level is the most suitable signal level for which the mixer is designed to handle effectively. The amount of gain above 0 dB is often referred to as headroom. This allows for many channels at nominal level to be mixed together and for EQ gains to be adjusted and increased and so on. But if you push it too far, the signals will gradually distort. In some cases, this distortion can add a kind of warmth. Ask any lead guitarist about friendly distortion. However, in other cases, it's not desirable at all. The level meters turn orange above 0 dB, then they go red to indicate the onset of distortion. Avoid the red for a clean and clear sound. On a digital mixer such as TF series, there's an absolute maximum level available. Due to the resolution of the analog to digital converters, the digital signal processing, and the DA, digital to analog converters. Great care needs to be taken to stay below this limit at all times, because it can otherwise cause a rather nasty distorted sound that very few people will be pleased about. So, to allow enough headroom, we treat the -20 dB FS, that's 20 dB below full scale, as the nominal point. So, -20 dB is equivalent to 0 dB on the MGP. Notice that on TF, the level meters go orange above -20. If you're producing a music track in a studio intended for radio play, you might see producers trying to get as close as possible to 0 dB FS to make the track sound as loud as possible. Don't be tempted to do this with a live mix. Live music is much more dynamic, often with sudden loud and quiet passages, which you don't want to flatten, as it can create a lifeless experience for the listener. Keep that headroom available. There is no advantage to saturate the input of a digital mixer, because it will not sound warmer like a vintage analog console can. They're designed to have a consistent sound character, no matter what the signal level is. Digital mixers such as TF have another advantage: digital gain as well as analog gain. So once you've set your output and your speaker levels, if you find the input is still too loud to have the fader at 0 dB, you'll need to either turn the fader or the input gain down. Now, bringing the fader down could bring it into a zone of higher sensitivity, where small movements cause a large level change. That will make it tricky to balance with all the other inputs. Keeping the fader around 0 dB is the safest and most accurate zone for mixing, especially important with the shorter 60mm faders of the MGP mixers. On an analog mixer, turning the gain down would reduce your signal to noise ratio. There'll be a smaller difference between the loudest and the quietest possible sounds. But with a digital mixer, you can keep the analog gain at the optimal position using Gain Finder and turn down the digital gain to bring the input signal to the required level, while keeping the fader at 0 dB. Because digital mixers these days have a much greater dynamic range than they did over 20 years ago, you won't be making any quality compromise. One more piece of advice on this topic. I have seen some engineers who want to keep their amps turned up at maximum all the time, no matter what. Perhaps for convenience, laziness, habit, whatever. But if you do this, you may be forced to reduce the gain at some other point in the signal chain. Perhaps at the stereo output of the mixer, or even at the mic preamp. This is not optimal. Adding unnecessary gain at the amplifier will raise the noise floor of your system, meaning background hiss will be more noticeable at quiet times. It will compromise the sound quality during quieter moments. Running the amps at a reduced level can not only provide a better sound, it will also help them to stay cooler, be more efficient, and last longer. In the next few videos, I'm going to explain about high-pass filters and parametric EQ essential tools for shaping the sounds picked up by the microphones, and also for shaping the sound of the speakers to suit the venue. Don't miss it.